What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Krupin, and on today's episode, we have a returning guest, Jamie Coones,
Woohoo.
the woo, chief scooper of Poo Squad. Welcome to the show again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited about today's topic, let's say that.
Me too, because it's a dirty word to
All
some
right.
people. Yep, franchise. It is everybody has their opinions on it. Last year Jamie was actually on the episode. He was episode 24. So for those of you that are listening, if you haven't listened to that after you're done with today, go back and listen to that episode. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. But Jamie reached out to me because I posted a video on YouTube just going over some franchise stuff, some stuff that I straight up pulled from the internet. And Jamie so graciously wants to talk about why Poo Squad is changing it up and mixing it up in the franchise industry for the pet waste removal. So Jamie, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into that, okay?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. But before I start asking you all the questions, do you want to give the listeners give us your highlight reel? What do you got going on?
Um, Worked in tech with a tech startup for almost 10 years. Was basically on a plane Monday through Friday, got sick of traveling. One Probably year 5 of that career, I was reading a story about a guy making a ton of money picking up dog poop, like 8 million bucks a year, and I was like, "Okay, well, I could pick up dog poop." So
Yep.
then I just always joked, um, whenever I was having a bad day at work or whatever, I would be like, man, screw this. I'm just going to go pick up dog poop. So March 2017, we started Poo Squad Manhattan, Kansas. Fast forward today, we've got 16 locations and growing. Yeah,
That's amazing. And I love that you have also been documenting the journey. You do a lot on social media, which is really nice to be able to watch. I didn't get to see you in the beginning, but I got to see you like in the earlier stages to kind of where you're at right now. And your branding and your colors and everything is just so cohesive. And you know it is it's the Poo Squad brand when you see it.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. Even like yesterday, we do a lot of events. Yesterday, we were at a golf tournament in Kansas City, and you got 4 guys out there golfing, all wearing their Poo Squad gear, and you're driving around. Every time you pull up to somebody, there's a bunch of different teams out there playing golf, and pretty much everybody, every time you pull up, Poo Squad.
Yeah.
So it's very recognizable, and people enjoy it. So
Yeah, I love that. Are you a big golfer? Or you just kind of
I love to play
dip it
golf. I'm not great at golf by any means. I shot a 70. I broke 80 one time. I shot a
in? Okay.
79. So
The only reason why I ask is because I actually went to the dentist yesterday, and my dentist was very upset because some big time golfer got arrested yesterday on accident.
yes,
What
Scotty
was his
Scheffler.
name?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my dentist was he was beside himself about this and was telling me, and I was like, "That's terrible." And he's like, "Do you golf?" I'm like, "No, I used to sell beer at the beverage cart as a beer cart chick in my early years, but I've never actually golfed."
Hey, there's some good money in beer cart girl too.
Oh yeah, I made a lot of money. I've always had 2 jobs, so I worked at the hospital midnights, and then during the day I was the beer cart chick because I just cannot, for the life of me, I cannot sit still. But unfortunately, I fell asleep one time while I was driving the cart, and I went onto the green, and we made
Oh
a
no.
mutual decision. Yeah, we made a mutual decision that my time was up there. So, all right, well, cool. I hope that guy got to play. Did he get to play or no?
Yeah, he came out and shot a 66. He had a shot a great round. So it's
Such a
it's
wild
cool.
story.
It's a lesson in mentality. That dude is mentally tough. He gets locked up for basically no reason, gets gets out of jail, and then only has like 50 minutes before his tea time to go play yesterday, and then shoots lights out. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you shine some light on talking about your mental toughness and being able to persevere through things because with business isn't always cool and you got to be able to push through it and take your emotions out of it, which I'm learning how to do that.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things people will ever do, and they don't understand that. People that don't understand people that don't own businesses don't understand that.
Yeah, and some people that do own businesses don't understand it, and that's why they
True.
really, really struggle. And I've seen I've seen some people that I've had conversations with, and I've tried, and they just won't listen. And unfortunately, they had to shut their businesses down because they weren't listening to anybody, especially the customer.
That is one pro I will say to being part of a franchise is you're all on the same team. You've got, I mean, when you're starting by yourself, and I think you even said this as one of the pros for being um, a franchise. You've got people there that have your best interests whenever they give advice or whatever. Um, when you're on random internet forums or anything like that, I mean, you've seen it, I've seen it, we've all seen it. There's just really bad advice that gets passed around, and um, you know, we don't get that. So that is one pro.
That is nice. Yeah. So let's hop into it. Basically, I'm going to go through the outline. We can talk about the pros, the cons, and let's
Yeah,
have a yeah. Let's just have an interactive conversation. Because if I misspoke on some stuff, let me know. I want to make sure that I'm putting the best information out there. And who better to ask from than you? That you actually have a franchise model at 16 locations, which is very impressive. Very
yeah. Thank
impressive.
you.
All right. So some of the pros that I talked about, I said you're buying into an established brand, which is
Yep,
correct. Business systems. Do you kind of want to go over the business systems that Poo Squad has that is top notch?
I can. I say let's go back to the very first thing that you had mentioned, which
Sure.
um, you're buying into an established brand. So that was one of the things. Um, I think the first thing that I disagreed with, or not necessarily, not that you're buying into an established brand, you are, um, but I think it was the expense of it. Uh, y- I do think that saying, and you can start this business and have the brand that I have for $1,000. Um, I think that's a little misleading because I mean, if I you've spent way more than $1,000 on your brand, um,
Yes.
and
Now.
I understand now, right? And I understand you're talking about in the beginning, um, but I know within the first year I spent over $50,000, building our brand, and so for somebody to just be able to buy into that and have the automatic brand awareness and everything. I mean, if you Google Poo Squad, there's a million things that pop up, right?
Yeah.
Um, but if you Google Joe Scooping, I mean, who knows that you're going to have a little bit more of a challenge there. So, um, and the other thing out the gate was the pricing. We're not all priced the same. So, and I agree with you 100%. So, yeah, don't take any of my comments like I was coming back at you or anything. I agree with most of the things you said in the franchise. But one of the things that you said over and over again was, "Don't put me in a box. I don't want to be in a box." You put me in a box by making that video, right? So you're saying this is all franchises. Um, you didn't say that specifically, but throughout the video, you're talking about franchises, which I am. So you're putting me in that box. But Poo Squad is nothing like what you were saying, which is exactly why I wanted to come on. So,
Yeah.
um,
And I'm happy. I am very happy that you reached out and you're able to explain why you're doing things differently with the new franchise model versus how franchises have been over the past, what we're going to say, what, 30 years at this point, because
yeah,
one of them started back in the, I think, the 80s, back in the
yeah,
80s.
yeah. And I think one of the big things there, like you said, it is the big upfront fee, and then your ongoing royalties.
Hmm.
I hated all of it, and it didn't make sense for me. Um, so when we decided we wanted a franchise, I wanted anybody to be able to join our franchise. I don't care if you've got $100,000 and no debt, and I mean, there's a bunch of different requirements for different franchises. Um, and my thought was, I don't want our franchise system to be something that I could have never joined, right? So I wouldn't have had the opportunity to join a franchise if I had to have zero debt, 100 or $1 million in the bank. Um, I couldn't meet those requirements. And so what we've really wanted to do is just help people. I mean, honestly, I've helped so many people for free over the years and given advice to folks. And then at a certain point, when I had a bunch of people, our franchises, paying me for my advice, I kind of had to step back and because it's not really fair to them who are paying me to be part of it and know all of the secret sauce for Poo Squad, right? And then for me to just give that out for free. So that's been a big challenge for me because I really love to help people. Um, and I can't. I mean, maybe one day I'll be able to break away from Poo Squad and just help people. But
So what are the qualifications for Poo Squad? If somebody listening is like, I would like a franchise. I like what he's having to say. What do they need to get in?
yeah, yeah. So we only charge a $7,500 upfront fee. That's to cover our costs. I mean, we build out your website. We've got your all your automations. We're building out your phone system. Um, One of the other cool things about being a franchise is we're building our own CRM. Right? There's nothing out there on the market that does exactly what we want to do. Um, there's some decent options out there that work, but most of those are kind of old school systems. We currently use Jobber, which is good, but there's just a lot of things that it won't do that we want to do.
Yeah.
It's an old system. It's just an old school CRM that they've built, and then they've kind of added all these features as plugins around. So our developers are very like mobile first thinkers. Um, they're the guys who built DoorDash and Amazon Alexa. So they're very mobile first. And so, when we think about a poop scooping experience, I want that to be a frictionless experience, just like you're ordering an Uber, not necessarily like on demand, but as far as you can open up a Poo Squad app and you can handle everything that you ever need to handle in the Poo Squad app.
Yeah, you don't have to log into like the desktop version to be able to get all the rest of the options.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and it's more so important for the customer. Like I want the user experience to be because most people, myself included, I hate reaching out to any customer service. If I can just handle what I need to handle through a app or a website, I would much rather do that. Um, so, as a small independent just starting up, there's no way you're going to be able to afford $1 million plus software. Um, but if you're somebody who's just starting out and you join us, you get access to that and all the automations. Like you don't even ever have to answer a phone call. I mean, with all of our AI and our integrations that we have in our new software, it automatically schedules for you. So when somebody signs up, it knows where they live. It knows which scooper has availability on their route for that day, and it can just automatically assign. There's just a lot of,
Is that
anyway,
the burger place with the red signage?
yeah,
Oh, so okay, hold on a second.
yeah,
Their
yeah.
branding is amazing. When I went to Florida, we were driving and I seen one of the semis. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And so Josh and I actually popped in there to eat, and I had a pretzel, and I was like, "This is just great. I love this place."
Oh, they're so good.
Never been there until
Yeah.
December of last year.
So those are the two guys that I really talked to, and they helped me move forward. And when we were doing this software deal, it's funny. That's what I said kind of at the end of that meeting. I was talking with somebody, and they were asking me how it's going. I said, "Well, it's pretty interesting. Software executives from Silicon Valley don't fly to Manhattan, Kansas, to meet with dog poop companies. Like that's just not something that happens." So that was a pretty cool experience. But anyway, he was able to sit in on that meeting with me and bring some of his team. So that's been a tremendous help. But against their advice, I am keeping our fee at $7,500. They're like, you've got to raise it. You got to raise it. And I don't think we do, because that's enough. It covers all of our onboarding costs. And I think we're doing fine with where we're at. But the biggest thing that I don't want to prevent, like I said, is I want anybody to be able to afford to do this and to do it well. And so, we also only have an 8.5% royalty, um, which I'm pretty sure is the lowest of any. I mean, all the other ones I've seen, eh, anywhere from like 12% all the way up to 30%, like 28%, I think is the most I've seen. Um, so anyway, that's one of the things that I 100% agree with you on. They're just robbing, in my mind, they're robbing their entrepreneurs, their business partners. Um, you don't need that much money to support a common goal. So, um, there's a reason that those guys have their own planes and stuff like that. So I don't really need my own plane. Maybe we will someday, but
I can see it, Jamie. I can see it. Orange. Is there regulations? Are you allowed to have an orange plane?
I don't know. We'll find out one day for sure.
All right, so you're keeping the cost low, which is really nice. You said you
Yep.
want anybody to be able to get in. There's
Yep.
two questions I have with that. Do
Yep.
you have criteria for your business partners that come in? Or how are you vetting them?
Right now, it's exactly what we're doing. I sit down and I just talk with them. I'll be honest, I try to talk everybody out of it, because if I can talk you out of it, then you shouldn't be here.
Right.
Right. Um, and so we go through all the good, all the bad, what the potential is, um, in their different markets and stuff like that. So it's really just kind of a gut feeling. I mean, throughout my career, I've hired and fired thousands of people. So I feel pretty good about, people when I meet them. And I think we've done pretty well with that so far. Obviously, I don't know if that's going to be scalable depending on how much we grow for me to sit down and spend so much time with everybody. But that's currently what we're doing.
Okay. All right,
Um,
cool. So you're doing an interview model. And then with with the buy-in and the royalties, what kind of like training and support are you giving are you calling them your business partners or your franchisees? What do you call them? So I'm
I call
calling
them
them
business partners. I
all right.
call them
We'll
business
roll with it.
partners.
Perfect.
Well, and kind of for the exact reason to to help get away from the myth that franchises are so controlling. These truly are my business partners. They are running their own small local business, every single one of them. Um, they're all locally owned and operated. So, you know, when you talk about, uh, in your video, you were talking about being a local business. Well, we are a local business everywhere we are. We're just using the same brand, but they're all independently owned and operated. So yeah, so we've done a lot of really cool things. Like I said, we're building out. We've got these automated phone sequences and messenger sequences. We've got what we call the vault. It's vault.poosquad.com. You go, every single location has their own folder. It's got all their social media graphics, all the different variations of the logo, our entire brand kit, so our colors, our fonts, everything that we use, all the commercials, and we go through and we customize everything that they could possibly need for their location when they're getting started. So from day one, when they start, they get log into the vault, go in. They've got all their door hangers, their yard signs, I mean, you name it. If they need magnets, if they need banner stands, whatever. We've got all that stuff just right there waiting for them. We have someone in house that does a lot of social media graphics and posts and records content and does we do that for all of our locations. So we are trying to take every single thing off of our owners' plates except for getting customers.
What if they want to? change things up, like what kind of leadway do they have with making adjustments to the marketing plan or marketing material? Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, so we a lot of our locations, they do a lot of their own content, and we encourage that. Any small local business owner should be posting things about their local community, and doing different events and um, yeah, so they can do it on their own as long as they're following within our brand kit. Like I said, we've got certain fonts, colors, and logos that we use. But as far as designing whatever they want out of that, they're certainly more than welcome to do that. We encourage it.
Now, have you run into a situation where one of your business partners did something that was out of the guidelines?
Yes and no. We just started operating under a franchise agreement. Up until this point, it's been a licensing agreement, and so a lot of people did a lot of things on their own, and there have certainly been a lot of things where I've had to call people and be like, we probably need to switch that up, or that doesn't fit the brand at all. And I think everybody kind of gets that now. But we didn't really have the structure that we have now. When they were all starting, it was kind of a free for all. It was like, hey, yeah, we have several locations. Now, how do we support them? And so that's what we've really invested heavily in over the years, is putting all these systems in place. Like I said, we're completely automating everything. We're automating all their marketing, all their Facebook, Google ads. I mean, our new system, you name it, it does it. Um, if somebody comes to your sign up form and they leave in the process, our system automatically follows up with them. Shoots them a message. It's like the message that you get when you leave something in your cart, right? On Amazon or whatever. So, I mean, we have all kinds of different automation sequences built in that are like that, to where our entrepreneurs and my business partners, they don't have to spend their time really doing any digital media marketing stuff. We handle it. Our automated system handles it. Um, they're not having to spend the time uh, to figure out, like I was talking a little bit ago, about which scooper is going to take this new job that's coming in. Our system knows that Erica has 8 hours of availability on Wednesday, and she's in that neighborhood, so it's just automatically going to assign it. So you don't have to waste your time calling to get a credit card, to schedule it, to do all these different things. So, like I said, we're just trying to really take everything out of their hands that we none of us want to spend time doing, right? Especially if it can be automated with AI and other things. It just makes them more profitable, and it gives them time. Their only time is focused just out in the field, talking to people, dropping yard signs, door hangers, doing what they need to do to grow their business. We take care of all of the back end for everyone. So there's a tremendous amount of value in that. I would say that's well worth over $7,500 just on its own. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny actually.
Do I sound like a robot now?
Oh, there you go.
So I was meaning to tell you that if I become a robot, let me know. My board is glitching. I need to get it fixed. Thank you for
Gotcha.
letting me know.
Yeah. So if you want to ask that question again,
Territory restrictions. Let's talk
yes.
about the territory restrictions. Do you have them? And if you do, what are they?
Yeah. So that's another really cool thing that we're doing that most franchises don't, or I don't know if they do. But we actually have a partner program. When you reach certain milestones within your Poo Squad location, you can actually bring on other Poo Squads around you, um, and they make ongoing. They get a part of a royalty split. So if Erica joined Team Poo Squad and you brought on 7, 8 other locations, and you build them up, you're getting royalty share. Basically, it's revenue share. We want to be kind of franchisee owned, and not just all the money flowing to the top. So that's kind of a cool program that we're doing. to really allow our other owners uh, to be operators. And everybody's goal, I think, at some point in life is to make some mailbox money that's just coming in every month, right? I mean, I would
Yeah.
assume that's the goal of your podcast and everything else. So,
Yeah, because I mean, the podcast, all of this takes a lot of time away from my business.
yep,
And I often think about like, what am I like? Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I
yeah,
not putting
right.
more time in my business? But the Lord has, I really do feel like the Lord has put this on my heart to do this. I'm really not guiding what's going on, and I'm gonna keep doing it until it feels right. And if at any point it doesn't feel right and it's not the right move, then I will stop. But I do wonder, I'm like, what is the end goal? What is the end goal of this?
I'm really glad you said that because that is my calling as well. That became very clear to me. For anybody who doesn't know my story, a couple years ago, I got COVID really bad, in the hospital on a ventilator for a couple months. They pretty much prepared my family for my death and all of that stuff. And um, so my perspective changed quite a bit on life after that. And, going back and looking at things, I've got all these text messages and emails from my other business partners, that are the franchise owners. And they were just, so thankful for everything. And I mean, so many messages of, I couldn't have ever done this without you. Um, and just all of these things. And they sent me all those messages before I got sick. That I'm saying, when I was going back and reading them and laying there in the hospital, obviously I had nothing but time to sit there and think about stuff. Uh, but God made it very clear to me that my mission was to continue helping these people. Um, we're giving all of our franchisee locations an opportunity they may not have ever had otherwise, to be their own, to own their own business, to have the time and freedom that they need to do. You were talking about, if you're having to leave to go take your kid their favorite pencil, our franchise owners can absolutely do that. So I
Good.
don't know where that one came from. They, like I said, they own and operate their own business. I'm not there. Nobody's there watching them or doing whatever. Anyways, it just became very clear to me. And that's another reason that I absolutely will not raise my price, because I want to help these people. That's it. And I truly look at them as business partners, and I don't look at them as an income source. I want I want to be their income source. I want them to make money. I want them to do well.
You're people focused.
I am, and that's another one of the things you talk about is ongoing royalties. So we actually don't even start charging royalties until they hit certain milestones. I don't want to be taking money out of their business when they're just trying to get started. Another thing we do is cap royalties. So you get to a certain point in your business, everything from there on is all you. I don't feel like they should be penalized for just going out and kicking butt, right? It helps all of us as a brand. Anybody who comes on Team Poo Squad, we're all working together on a common goal. It's not one person sitting at the top filtering all the money to us. That's never been my goal. That's not the direction we're headed. I look at it as each one of these locations are paying 8.5% operations and marketing fee, right? Because we're doing all that stuff for them that they would be paying a lot more for if they were trying to do it independently. So we're only taking 8.5% to give them all of these fancy, cool things to work with that if they were just out on their own, they couldn't do.
At what point do they start paying royalties, and do they have a specific time frame? Like they can't drag it on for 5 years, 10 years?
So currently, no, there's no time frame. And we don't charge until they hit 100 weekly. Obviously, we have an interest in getting them to 100 very quickly, right?
Absolutely.
Because it helps all of us out. And then we cap that at 1,000 weekly.
How many of your locations have 1,000 weekly?
We only have one that's close. And keep in mind, most of our locations are still very young. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, because it's
two,
you're still
two,
you grew quick.
Yeah, I mean, most of our locations are 2 years or less.
With a territory, when you have like 1,000 customers, say for instance, or even 500, let's base it off 500 or 300. How large
Yeah.
is your territory at that point? How far are these scoopers going out?
So originally we were doing it by county, and we knew we were going to have to change it when we started doing that. It was just kind of the easiest thing to do in the beginning. Now we actually have software that kind of will dwindle territories down by population size, and we're doing about one location per 100,000. That's kind of where we're starting at. That's probably going to increase a little bit, I would say. So, like our Kansas City location, he wanted to expand up into North Kansas City. So he bought the rights to another territory, um, which is right next to him. So now he's much larger. And he just grew extremely quick. I mean, within, well, he had 3 customers to scoop on his very first day. Like he decided on a Wednesday that he wanted to start a Poo Squad, and by Friday, he had 3 customers to go scoop.
What's his personality like? Tell us a little bit about him.
So Matt is awesome. He's actually we just promoted him to our COO. Um, so he's been running grocery stores for years. He was an area director for Hy-Vee, if you're familiar with those.
Yep.
Um, he loved what he did. I mean, he worked there all through college and rose through the ranks, and was making very very good money. And I would have thought it would have been very difficult for him to leave that, but I think he was so burnt out. I mean, you think about grocery or any kind of retail, really.
Yeah.
They've got to work crazy hours, especially around holidays. They can't ever go home, see family, and stuff like that. So his personality, he's kind of a numbers nerd. He loves spreadsheets. He tracks everything, and that's why he's perfect for what he's doing. But that's just kind of his background. He's used to running grocery stores and knowing exactly every number for every item in there. And yeah, so that was kind of his personality, and he's just come out and absolutely killed it. I mean,
Is he the
um,
one that's helping with your social media? Or not helping, but I see him on your social media?
no, so that's Corey.
Corey, okay.
He, yeah, Corey Reeves. He's another one of my good friends. He's he was an owner of Manhattan Broadcasting Company, partial owner, and the general manager there for years. He's been in radio for 25 plus years, and I mean, as a friend, I would always go to him for advice on certain campaigns, things that we were doing. Because you think about this guy's been in broadcast media for 25 years. His job is to tell the story of all of the companies that want to come and advertise with them, or basically just tell the stories of different brands. And so I would go to him for advice on some things. And, eventually I was like, dude, why can't I just have you? Like, why can't you work for us? And, or work with us? And one day it just all worked out. It happened. It's definitely another God thing. Like you said, it's not what you're doing is not even in your control anymore. I feel the same way. I mean, all of these things just keep happening. Um, like I said, 2 Silicon Valley execs flying into Manhattan, Kansas, to meet a pooper scooper. That just doesn't happen. So the timing, everybody that I keep meeting, it's an absolute blessing and calling from God that this is all happening. So very cool.
It's a reminder that you're on the right path, which is nice. When I was driving with my husband. Well, I wasn't driving, I was in the passenger seat. And I was just kind of praying. I'm like, what what am I doing right now? What's going on? Am I on the right path? All the things. And within 10 minutes, I looked at my messenger because I don't have notifications come to my phone anymore. And I had a message from a female business owner that has kids, kind of going through it and was asking me questions about navigating a relationship with God and how I'm able to do that and run the business and have the family. And the words that were coming from me, I was like, this isn't even me right now speaking. And I was able to just speak some truth into her. And she's like, thank you so much. And we had a great conversation. I shared my Vegas story with her that happened last year. And afterwards, I was like, okay, all right. You're telling me that I'm on the right path. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And for anybody who doesn't know that feeling, I'm very sorry, but um, when you walk daily with the Lord, it's incredible how you can just let go of all your stress and worries. You're putting your faith in Him, and He just keeps showing you the way. It's been an absolute incredible journey.
it, I'm going to cry just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because we'll have to maybe talk about that later on because I don't know with your sickness and what happened with you. If you said you felt like you were going to die, like they were preparing for what was going on. And when I was
Mhm.
in Vegas, I felt the devil. I truly did,
Yeah.
and it scared me so bad that when I came home, I was only there for like 30 something hours. When I came home, I immediately texted. I told my husband first what happened. I was like, he's going to try to commit me, that's gonna happen. He was like, "I believe you. I wholeheartedly believe you." I contacted the pastor. I said, "I need to have a conversation with you and, Sarah, like, immediately, and I have 3 very specific questions to ask you." And they sat down with me, they listened, they answered them, and the rest is history there.
Yeah. Well, good.
It was nuts.
Uh,
But yeah.
I'm glad Vegas happened to you then, because whatever gets you there, right?
Mhm. I was supposed to be there, I'll tell you that. That's what was supposed to happen. Okay. Let's get back to business. I deviate. So we talked about the territory restrictions. Let's talk about the. I said that there was limited flexibility. So let's tell me about if, say, for instance, a friend or a business partner was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm done. I'm ready to move on. What happens when they want to sell their location?
So they have the opportunity to sell it. I mean, it is still going to be a Poo Squad.
Yeah.
So somebody would be buying into the same systems and brand, which we think is an absolutely good thing. I don't see that as a negative because, like you said, I mean, they're buying into this already established and thriving business. Um,
Are they buying in at a higher rate than the 7,500 at this point because the location has been built up so much?
no, no. I mean, well, so the franchise owner can sell it for whatever they want.
Okay. Let's dive a little deeper into that.
Yeah. I think a goal of a lot of business owners is to build up a business and sell it at some point. If our other locations have built up a really cool thing and they want to move on to something else, and they've got a buyer that's willing to pay for what they want to sell it for, I think that's fantastic. We are going to have to put some kind of restrictions on. This hasn't happened yet. That's why I say we're going to have to um, on who buys it.
Mhm.
We're very picky about who we let in to our Poo Squad brand. Um, so just because we're probably the least expensive, it doesn't mean that by any stretch that we're the worst. Um, you've already heard me talk about the reasons why we're priced the way we are. It has nothing to do. We're not pricing to race to the bottom or anything else. We're priced the way we are for those reasons only.
Say, for instance, your partner has grown this wonderful business and they were like, "Okay, I'm ready to
Yeah.
walk away." What would that look like? Would you help facilitate that sale? We know you're going to be selective with the person that they sell it to.
I mean, we've got a lot of people that have wanted to start poo squads that we've told no. So, like I said, just because we're the least expensive doesn't mean that doesn't mean anything. Um,
Have you heard some negativity from other franchise owners about you being a lower price?
I've never even talked to another franchise owner, so
Okay.
I have talked to people that own. I've talked to franchisees, and my heart truly breaks for most of them because as we discussed, the current franchise model to me is just broken. It's it's designed for very few people to do very, very well, and I don't like that. I mean, you know, more power to them. I will say that's kind of one of the amazing benefits about living in a capitalist society, right? Anybody can charge anything they want, um, but people also have the choice to buy of what they want. Um, so
Yeah, where they're getting sold a pipe dream, and they're essentially giving all of their money away. 'Cause there is a franchise person that I was talking to, she worked for a franchise, and this was over on, TikTok, and we were kinda, like, in the DMs a little bit, and she was just telling me, like, her experience with it and how she wanted to know if I was hiring, and at the time, like, I wasn't, but the fact that she was, I guess, so open to complain about the other company, I was like, "I don't know if you're the person I wanna hire." That's not the vibe I'm really wanting to go with. But some of the things that she was saying, I was just like, I was taken back. I was like, wow. And that's kind of where the pencil thing came from because she was also a mom, and it just got me thinking about the time where I had to leave work and go take one of the kids their favorite pencil because they needed to take their test. It was a very
yeah,
dramatic experience. And this woman, she wasn't able to do stuff like that with her kid because it was such tight routes. They were so compacted and they had to work so fast. And she said it was very, very, very stressful.
yeah, I can imagine. I don't know. I like I said, I've got dozens of text, emails, all these things from our other operators who are just, like I said, just constantly thankful. And I was talking about Matt running his grocery store chains. That guy, he hadn't seen a Thanksgiving or Christmas with his family in years. Um, and so I got a message from him one day. I remember it was after I think the Chiefs won the first Super Bowl 4 years ago, um, or whenever it was. I don't remember the exact date, but anyway, they have the Super Bowl parade in downtown Kansas City, and he sent me a text message with a picture from there, and he's like, "Dude, I could never even imagine being able to do something like this. Thank you so much for the gift of Poo Squad and what you guys do for us and allowing us to live life."
Yeah, live
Um,
that life. Do you guys work
but that's
holidays or do you always take holidays off?
we do. So the only time that we have scheduled off in our terms of service is Wednesday through Sun. Well, I guess it would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of Thanksgiving week, and then the week between Christmas and New Year's. So that's in our terms of service. Everybody knows that when they're signing up, we have them check a box saying, yes, we know this. And so we give all that time, or we give those specific time off for everybody, and we still pay them.
Are you still charging the customer for that time?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a question that's often asked. People want to know. They're like, do we still charge them? And I say, yeah. So it's nice that you are big and you're saying yes as well.
I think you have to. I mean, the only way that this business works, I think, really is you have to do a subscription model. A
Yeah.
subscription model is just like your garbage can service. If I don't take my can to the curb, if I'm like on vacation, and I mean, they're not, the garbage man isn't going to walk into my backyard, pull my trash can out, go dump it, and bring it back. I'm still paying for that whether we put our can out or not. And this is the same thing. And so I think this only works, and it not only works, it works other ways too. I know a lot of folks do it differently. So, but for a flat monthly rate, because if I know a lot of people that charge weekly because some months have more weeks in them and stuff like that. But if you do all the math, you can bring it back down to a flat monthly fee. Because we started out doing it, um, by the week, and some months their bill would be 75, and then it would drop down to 50 the next month, and then you would have
It's
to
hard to
answer questions.
replicate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so they ask you get tons of questions. Why is my bill differently for this and this? And so we just, we decided we're going to multiply everything times 52, divide it by 12, and that's going to be our monthly price.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And so once you do it like that and you've got your specific time off in your terms of service, you're very upfront about that. We haven't had any major pushback with any of that.
No, and it's important to take take that time off and to charge. And for those that are charging every single week, I did this. I did a hybrid. I've tried various pricing models, and the flat rate has worked the best because it's consistent. And like you said, do the if you want to whatever if you want to charge $25 a week, times that by 52, divide it by 12, boom, that's their flat rate. If they start middle of the month, I prorate their first bill for whatever that's going to be, but I let them know that starting the following month, their bill is going to be said price, automatically charged with your credit card on file at 9 p.m. And if they don't agree to it, then unfortunately, we have standards and they can't come on with us anymore. And that was tough. That was tough to have the confidence to be able to create that boundary with the business.
I know. I'm one of the people who talked you into it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yeah, you've helped a lot. I mean, remember when I was going through my identity crisis with the logo? It was a
Yeah,
mess.
yeah.
I was like, I need to figure this out. And now I love my branding. Adam did a really, really good job. I have the brand packet. I have everything that I need for it.
For sure. There's very few brands out there that I look at and I'm like, that's pretty solid. I can identify exactly who you are and what you do. And if I was, and if you were in my town, I would instantly know who you are, right? Just by seeing a pink car, a pink shirt, whatever it is. And that's the same thing that we've done with Poo Squad and Orange.
It's because yeah, you identify it immediately. So you're kind of are you dealing with any of the older generation comparing you to another brand that has the color? Because I'm getting compared to Mary Kay with the pink Cadillac from that older generation.
Yeah. No, fortunately, I haven't had to deal with any of that. On the side of all of our trucks, it says we take a lot of crap from our customers. That's
Yeah.
probably the only kind of pushback that we've gotten. We've had a few phone calls saying I had to explain to my kid what crap was, and, you know, which I mean, with everything you're seeing on TV and online these days, crap is pretty PG.
Are you noticing that you're having issues with posting on Facebook and Google with using the word poop or crap? I am having some issues with it as it's a controversial word.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different. I mean, they're constantly changing the algorithm, right, of what it's looking for and what it's not. And do you put a link in your post or do you put it in the comments or there's just all kinds of different things like that, and you're constantly having to battle to figure that out. And I think that was another one of your points in your video. You were talking about companies falling behind on trends and technology and staying ahead of all the different changes. Um, that's at the forefront of what we do. We're constantly staying ahead of all of those different things.
And it's clear if you look at your Facebook and you look at your social medias, if with some other companies, you go to the Facebook pages and it's crickets, it's ghost town. It's embarrassing to
Yeah,
buy into that franchise and a post hasn't been made in a year. It's unacceptable.
yeah, that's
I
wild.
It is because Facebook is my second lead generation. It's Google, then it's Facebook, and then it's referral, and then yard signs and the company car is definitely starting to, do its thing. But Facebook's huge.
It is. And one thing that I will say, I don't know who you're talking about specifically, but I will say, from the franchisor perspective, like I said, each one of those companies are all small, locally owned, independently owned and operated companies. It is still their job to post on their social media. So if you went and looked at a franchisee's Facebook page, it might be because they just haven't posted. That might not be on the franchisor.
Well, I feel like the franchise owner needs to get, or the head dog needs to get on them and say, "Hey, you need to be posting. This is our guidelines. You
Yeah,
should be."
well, and see, we're just eliminating that altogether because we're building them branded a couple of different branded posts every week. So at a minimum, we know those are getting posted.
Are you able to automate those from like
Yeah,
a so it can automatically post without them having to do it?
yeah,
Oh, that's sweet. That's nice. I
yeah,
like that. All right,
yeah.
cool. We're coming to an hour now. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover that we didn't talk about yet?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, I just at least wanted to defend our position as a franchisor because, like I said, I felt like I was being put in a box that we didn't fit in because we're not doing. I agree that the entire franchise system is just broken, and um, I mean, like I said earlier, more power to them if that's the way they want to operate their business. Um, that model has worked and existed for years, and maybe I'm the idiot, and maybe one day I won't have enough money to operate our franchise because I'm not charging enough. Uh, I don't know. I don't see that happening.
With you being people focused and what your priority is and what you're providing, I do feel like the Lord's going to continue to bless you in your journey and what you're doing because you are walking a different path and you're trying to change things and give people opportunities that they wouldn't have any other way because they don't have $100,000 in the bank. Like, we're in 2024. Who really has $100,000 in the bank? Who doesn't have debt, especially coming out of what we did in 2020? A lot of people are still suffering and feeling the ramifications of that.
Well, thank you for saying that because I mean, that's what I believe, and that's my mission. Is just how many people can we help at this point? Um, we've even got other pooper scoopers that have been doing their own business for a year or two, and they're reaching a plateau at 80 customers, 100 customers, whatever that is. Um, and they're like, hey, we would potentially like to come join Team Poo Squad. And so we say, absolutely, let's do it. I mean, if they're the right person, and we don't take a single penny from them from the business that they've already earned. That just stays theirs. Again, I don't feel entitled to anything that they've already built. I think that's nuts. So
I've had some people ask me about franchise too, because especially female business owners, because my logo now is me because who is Kroopin? I am Kroopin. I just couldn't put a dog with it. I'm the guy. It's fine. But women are
yeah,
reaching out. Like, how many? There's so many brown-haired women out there that look like me that are like, I would love to be a part of that. Do you franchise? I'm like, listen, no, like not right now. But I've been told that there's definitely opportunity there if I ever wanted to because of the colors and everything that I put together.
yeah. Well, I mean that's the mark of a great brand, right? When you have people that want, like we have people that have franchised with Poo Squad specifically because of our brand. They're like, we love it. Everybody loves it. Everybody thinks it's cute. You know, people are always asking about. I mean, we've sold thousands of our hats, right? I mean, people love them, and uh, they want to represent and wear our brand. One of the coolest things to me that has ever happened to me, and I may have told this story before, but walking through the Detroit airport, I saw a guy wearing a Poo Squad hat, and I was running from to my connecting flight, and I didn't have time to go ask him where he got it or what, but just to see your brand out existing in the world, like something you created, it's pretty cool, and it's very recognizable. I would say probably 2 or 3 times a week, I'll get a picture of one of our trucks, somebody wearing one of our shirts, somebody wearing our hats, from all over. Like, hey, I was in Vegas today and I saw somebody wearing one of your hats. I just got a picture yesterday. One of my friends was flying to Italy, and there was a guy with a backwards hat on that had Poo Squad that he was sitting behind.
That's
Um,
dope. That's really cool.
yeah, so um,
Well, if you're ever in
but it,
Detroit again, Jamie, you better make some time because I'm only 35 minutes from Detroit.
okay, yeah, no, I definitely I think we definitely need to have an informal scooper get together. I don't know that it needs to be a any kind of convention or anything like that. Um, and at Poo Squad, pretty soon we're going to be we're probably already there. We're big enough to where we can start having our own kind of get-togethers. But as part of that, I would love to open up like a day or something to where just anybody can come and hang out, and I think that would be a lot of fun. We had so much fun in Myrtle Beach. I'm sorry that your dog was under the weather and you couldn't make it, but
Yeah, I had my flights booked. I had the hotel paid for. I had everything. So I lost a lot on that. But yeah, she had an entire ACL repair. Um,
yeah,
and it was
I saw that.
fresh. I want to say it happened on Monday, and I was supposed to fly out Wednesday. And I love my husband, I love the kids, but the level of care that they were going to give to this dog wasn't going to be a fraction. Wasn't a fraction. Like my husband can't even remember go to the dentist. He is not going to remember to give this dog her medication every couple hours. So I had to make the decision, and I was bummed, but I knew it was the right move, and she's good. She's thriving. She acts like she never got a knee replacement. She's
Good.
out there living. Josh would be like, "She still got it," and she's barking at the mailman like a psycho. But yeah, I was bummed. It was cool to see all of you guys connect. But yeah, if you guys ever do anything, I would love to come out. I don't drink. I'm not a drinker anymore, so I might not be
Well,
as
that's okay.
fun, but I'm better now. I can go out in public because for a while there, if you've listened or seen any of my stuff, for a while there, it was really hard for me to go out with people and connect because I needed to relearn how to have fun and who Erica was as a sober person. And I'm finally like, I can do it now. I can do it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I guess it probably looks like I drink all the time because usually when I drink, I post on social media. So,
Yeah.
uh, so it probably looks like I drink a lot, but I really, I don't. I think I've drank like 4 times this entire year so far.
Oh,
Um,
dang. But yeah, on social media, it looks like you get down on it. I'm like, I don't think I can hang with him. I'd be so lame.
no, it definitely looks way worse than what it really is. But yeah, we do a lot of, I mean, like golf tournament events and stuff, and I usually have some beers doing stuff like that. But
Yeah,
especially
that's
having a
cool.
kid now, we've dialed back a lot.
Kids change everything. Our oldest just got a motorcycle.
Oh wow,
I hate it.
that's
But
terrifying. Yeah,
he's 18, he'll be 19. So it's like what do you do, you know? He has a uh a union job for a very large tree service. So he's got benefits, he's making good money, all of the things. And he's got his pesticide license, he's got his CDL, like the big license, and now he's got a motorcycle. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. We went too
yeah,
quick.
yeah. I mean, we were at the playground yesterday, and I saw my 2-year-old jumping off of a 5 foot ledge onto the ground, and it's like, who is this kid? Like
And I was
you're
like, slow
two.
down.
Yeah, you're two, bro. Settle down.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank you so much again for hopping on. Thank you so much for reaching out. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. You always have a special place in my heart as you are you're kind, you're genuine, you're here to make a positive impact on people's lives, and that's what I really really enjoy about you, Jamie.
Well, thank you so much. I think I can say the same for you and your podcast. I think it's good um, to what you're doing to help the small independent person who maybe couldn't even afford to do a poo squad. Um, and just all of you've got a lot of really good people on your podcast, and it's helping a lot of people. So I think all of us certainly appreciate that as well.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I That makes me smile. I like it. I'm hoping that one day people aren't going to be like, "Shut up. Quit talking on the internet. We got too many scoopers."
Yeah, well, I mean, that's anybody on the internet. Anytime you put yourself out there, people are going to hate. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't think they're, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
the cream rises to the top, right?
Yeah.
And like I've always said, and I think I probably said it on your podcast last time. I think it's important for people to hear. Um, and I think the quote is, "Losers focus on winners, and winners focus on winning." Um, so you can't let anybody. The only time that I would ever take any kind of criticism to heart is if it's somebody who's doing something that I'm not. Like if they're ahead of me in what they're doing, if I look up to them, um, it might hurt my feelings a little bit if they were critical of me. But uh, I can safely say that's very few people. Like I don't really focus on what anybody else is doing. I think it's important that we focus on what we're doing and growing our brand.
I'm actually really happy you said that. I'll say this one little last section, and then we can get off. Where you were talking about, valuing people's opinion. I was very guilty of throwing my husband under the bus in front of people just because of, like, I was nasty. I had some nasty things going on inside. And we were over at his family's house, and he said something, and then I was just doing what Erica does. And there's this woman, Laura, there, and she's beautiful. She's older, she's elegant, she's well put together, good mannerisms, just somebody that I would want to embody as I mature. And I was doing as I did, and she said, "Erica, stop that. You do not do that to your husband. You do not do that." But she said it with a smile, and she said it with grace. I was embarrassed. I was angry at myself. I reflected on it, and I wholeheartedly made the change. And then the next time I seen her, I pulled her to the side and I thanked her for it. And I explained to her, what was going on. And she was right. And my husband was like, hell yeah, Laura, that's great. And Josh was so happy that I took that information and I wasn't like, Screw her, whatever. I'm gonna keep doing me." Um, and so it's really important to have those people around you that you look up to, and take their advice and process it.
To take their advice, that's super important because there's a lot of people, especially I mean, I mentor a lot of business people, and um, what you'll find out is you don't have a lot of action takers. You've got a lot of people who talk about doing big things, but whether it's fear that paralyzes them from stepping out or whatever it may be, there's just not a lot of people who take action. So kudos to you for being an action taker, realizing that something was um, out of place and that you weren't really being the real Erica, and fixing that.
Oh yeah, I was last year. I changed a lot. My husband says I'm a completely different person than I was last year or the year before. So it's just been cool, man, to see the progress. And if you surround yourself with good people, you take the action. And if you take the action, you are going to be so far ahead of so many other people because most people are dreamers and they think about it and they talk about it as they do
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Well, show up is number 4 on our core values at Poo Squad. And
Ooh,
that's exactly what it sounds like. Show up. That's half the battle. You're going to beat probably 90% of your competition if you just show up. It's
yeah, I
crazy to
agree.
think about that, but we hear that all the time, even in regards to showing up to perform your service. Like we hear like, oh well, hey, I've got this service and I never know what day they're coming, and they might not even come that week, and it's like, how is that even a business? So, anyways, like I said, showing up is a big part of the battle, and that also means showing up for God, showing up for your spouse, showing up for your kids. Uh, show up embodies a lot of different things, but if you can do that, you're gonna have a pretty successful life.
Ooh, on that On that note, we're going to end because that was good. So, if you showed up and you listened to this episode, give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, show Jamie some love, go over to the Poo Squad social medias that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to include down below. I try to post a new episode every single Monday because I like to show up for you. And until next time, bye.